Good. What's up, Browns fans? Welcome to a special live edition of the Dawgs podcast, coming to you live from the Grindstone Tap House in Berea. The Browns Backers Bash, sponsored by the Berea Browns Backers, celebrating upcoming matchup against the Chargers tomorrow. Big game for the Browns early in this season to keep the season alive, avoid the fire sale, and keep fighting for a playoff spot despite starting the season with only 2 wins. This game, as early as it is, has implications for the rest of the season and the quality of football I think we're going to get to watch from here on out. This will be a big win heading into the bye. Super pumped to be here. Glad we were kind of invited to this live event and get to be a part of it. Obviously, I have Kenny Mack here to my left, all the way down from Ottawa. You know, he's a world traveler, Kenny Mack. He does all these events for the Browns Backers, so we'll let him explain everything that's going on here. If you're in the Berea, Cleveland, Akron area, we're going to be here. This is from 5 to 8, and then I think a band goes live at 8. So it's a Browns party all night. So if you're local, head on over to the Grindstone Tap House in Berea. They got drink specials, food specials. They're raffling away autographed Browns gear. They got T-shirts here for $10 if you make it. There's a leaf filter, gutter protection sponsoring the event. Also, they're giving away beanies, doing demonstrations. So just a cool event here. Before we start previewing the Chargers matchup, just talking about the season in general, though, remember, if you want to get thoughts and intros on the show, head to thedawgspodcast.com, leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure the notification bell is tapped so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out, such as this, a random Saturday night coming to you live. You don't want to miss it, and you will if you don't have that notification bell tapped. So make sure you don't miss anything, or else your life will suck. If you prefer to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. If you want to find us on any social media, just search at the Dawgs Podcast on all the major platforms, and we will be there. And lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member on our Patreon page. First and foremost, if you become a member, you would know about this way in advance, and you could have planned your trip. There's going to be at least 7 or 8 Dog Pack members here. Kenny is obviously a member, but there's a bunch of other guys coming to this event tonight from all over the country and the world. I don't know if Pastor Rob's still coming or not, but he's from Scotland, so that's a decent hike for him. We got guys from Kentucky coming up, all parts of Ohio. So if you're in the Dog Pack, this was a huge night for us to get to meet a lot of these people in person for the first time. You get to play fantasy football with us. You get to be a part of the Dog Pack Discord preview episodes, get your thoughts on the show as often as you want. You get to be a big part of the episodes in the off season with some of the bonus content we put out. So again, if you want to be a part of the Dog Pack, you want to help support the show, you want to meet Browns fans from all over the world, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. So Kenny, awesome seeing you. Last time I saw Kenny in person, we were in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we were doing another. I did another Browns Backers Bash. That was at Flankers. We had a fantastic time. Unfortunately, I didn't get to connect with Blake there due to plane. We don't want to rub that salt in the wounds for that.
Don't fly Frontier. Ever.
Yeah. And the Browns, man, they're great. They sponsor the chapters throughout the world. And if you ever thought about getting one, I mean, ultimately you reach out to the Browns, and this is something that they can put together. But like he said, I mean, we're here. It's November 2nd, guys. We're at Grindstone Tap House. If you guys are looking at this live and you're just down the road, come and see us. It is 826 Front Street, Berea. Chomps is going to be here at 6 o'clock. There are some limited edition Brownie the Elf t-shirts. And Brownie, he's got some camo on him because it's the Salute to Service game. So come out. The proceeds of that, Josh just actually showed it right now. The proceeds for that is for the Cleveland Browns Foundation. It helps inner city youth through many different avenues, getting shoes, toothbrush, that kind of stuff. So it's a great thing to get in and be backed by. We also have a raffle, as he mentioned, all the things that he said, player signed balls, player signed jerseys. There's all different things, different avenues that you can get and raise money and help out the foundation that helps out other kids. Last but not least, we're getting together as a crew tomorrow That's not Browns Backers. This is the Dawgs podcast thing. We're going to be at the probated courthouse in the parking lot, ready to party for the Chargers and the Browns. Let's go, Brownies! Here we go, Brownies! Here we go! Hoo!
All right.
You can always count on Kenny Mack to bring the energy. We
Yes.
were out in Vegas. He was up on stage. We had MGK's producer was cheering on the crowd. So, like, who's more popular, Kenny Mack, people who hang out with MGK? I'm taking Kenny Mack.
That's
every
right.
time.
Kenny Mack for sure.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. I'm all ready for a party, man.
So it's an awesome time. Like Kenny said, if you're local and you're looking for something to do tonight, head on down to the Grindstone Tap House. Come hang out with the Browns. It's a good time. So, jumping into, first of all, I guess I want to mention big Buckeyes win today.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Big Buckeyes.
I know a lot of us Buckeyes fans after last week's game against Nebraska, I don't know how we were feeling. We were kind of thankful that James Franklin still coaches Penn State, and that paid dividends today. We were able to get a big win on the road and stay in the hunt for the college football playoff. So I'm excited. Buckeyes got a win. Michigan's getting trounced, and we're here talking Browns. So, talking Browns football, big game against the Chargers tomorrow. Just some updates. I saw JOK placed on IR, so he's going to be out at least 4 games. Big
That's
news,
tough.
though, I did see Denzel Ward cleared to play tomorrow.
That's insane. I was not expecting that. I was banking on him missing the game.
So, you don't necessarily have a
Multiple
concussion if
games.
you're in concussion protocol, correct?
That's correct.
I thought I saw that they diagnosed him with a concussion. It was his 6th diagnosed, but maybe not. Maybe
It's-
I read that wrong.
Somebody could have jumped the gun too. Who knows?
That's true.
Yeah,
you
that's
know
true.
what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you get put in the protocol because you have symptoms, but doesn't necessarily mean that you have a concussion. Either way, he cleared out and he cleared out fast. I'm just using him for third downs, and if there's even a sniff of a run on a play, I'm pulling him out of the game, man.
I think a big guy who's got to step up with JOK, going to miss at least 4 games. He already stepped up big when JOK went out last time, but Diabate has to continue to play well because JOK is a big loss. It's not only his energy and kind of a leader on the defense. The dude, averages 58 tackles a game, it seems. He's all over the field.
Yep.
So Diabate's going to have to step up. I'm looking forward to seeing what Mike Hall can do again. He popped off the tape. He played well in his first game back and his first real action. So it's going to be a big test for the Browns, but I feel a little bit disrespected. I was looking up the matchup. We're 2.5-point underdogs at home. Are you surprised by that at all?
I didn't see many pundits pick us to win. I think out of the main Cleveland pundits that they show every week, 3 of 10 picked. I can't remember. I think Peter R. put that in the group. And that's NFL.com maybe. I can't believe Adam Rank picked us to win.
So
That scares me. He's usually wrong.
Yeah.
So-
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, being the underdog like that's like a Vegas line, right? So, I mean, to me, that just says they're betting that more people are betting against the Browns, which, based on our season so far, is the safe bet. I mean,
Maybe I'm feeling overconfident, but just based off who the Chargers have played, and I know we've only played well in 1 game, but, man, it felt like a different game. It felt like a season-changing game.
Oh, yeah.
Just
You know what I mean?
energy-wise.
Just
Just
energy-wise,
energy-wise,
especially we're playing at home in front of that crowd. It feels different. We don't feel like the same team we were even 2 weeks ago. And then just looking at who the Chargers have played, their 4 wins are against the Raiders, who obviously they beat us, but I don't think anybody's confusing the Raiders with a good football team.
no, Jameis plays, we beat the Raiders.
Yes, the Panthers, who are a dumpster fire,
Yeah.
and that was when Bryce Young was playing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even against Andy Dalton. The Saints, who are playing like one of the worst teams in football last month.
And did they get
And then
Rattler?
and they played Spencer Rattler, and then their best win is arguably against the Broncos.
Yeah, what was that score?
They beat the Broncos 23-16.
But who'd they lose to?
They've lost to the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals aren't.
Cardinals are booty, dude. They're not great. And the Steelers, when they played the Steelers, first of all, they didn't have Justin Herbert for part of half that game, right? And that's when Justin Fields was playing, and they weren't scoring a lot of points. I mean, their 4-3 record is not impressive.
No, and it's the NFL. You play who's in front of you, and you got to go win the games. And the Browns made the playoffs a couple years ago, beating a bunch of bad teams. So, you know, and they're all professional athletes, so there's no such thing as an easy win. But when you just, I feel like a 4-3 record is a little bit inflated for them, and to just be putting a ton of stock into that. And I know that they've given up 91 points, but like you mentioned, they only average barely a point more than we do a game, and we've been a historically bad offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for them to only average a point more per game, if it wasn't for us, they would be the historically bad offense coming into this game.
Right, and like we said in the previous show, they're averaging, I think it was like 18.4 points a game, and we're at 17-something. But they're averaging 18 with this is their team. Like, this is their offense that they've had all season. They plan to have, you know, with Justin Herbert and the receivers and the run game, all this stuff. We're averaging 17 points, and this is not the offense that we planned to have this year. Last week, I feel like, was the offense that we were supposed to have this year. So, I mean, in our first game
100%.
with Jameis Winston, it was damn near 30 points, 29 points. So I know they're a good defense and everything, but like Blake said, they haven't played anybody really explosive.
Vegas is just saying that they don't believe in Winston is what I think. They're thinking that he's going to have a letdown game. I've read it all over the place that it's going to be a roller coaster with him. And I don't think people think he can put it back to back. I think he kind of did against the Bengals and then against the game last week. But, I mean, who knows? I think at the end of the day, the way that they are, if he can evade the pass rush the way he did the previous game, then I think we're good.
I think the roller coaster talk of Jameis Winston's a little bit overblown. And maybe I'm wrong, and he'll come out and throw 4 picks this week, knock on wood. Hopefully that's not what's going to happen. But going back to his last stretch of being the starter down in New Orleans, we've talked about this a couple times. He had 14 touchdowns and only 3 picks before he went out with injury.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty far removed from the 30-30 season in which he threw a ton of interceptions. He's taking care of the ball quite well his last, 8 starts?
Yeah.
Post LASIK surgery, you mean?
Yeah, and he even came out and made a joke about that, didn't he? Did you guys see that quote of his?
Yeah.
Where he said,
No.
Down in Tampa Bay, he's like, dude, I couldn't see anything. Forever I thought Bruce Arians was black.
Oh, yeah. I think I said that last episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I thought it was something like just of late.
He cracks me up, but, Blake said about the 14 touchdowns to just the 3 interceptions. I think that was 7 games or something. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Saints were like 6-1 in his game. I mean, they were winning games. He can lead an offense and a team to victories if given the chance. And we've seen guys, we put way too much pressure on young quarterbacks in the NFL right now over the last decade or so to succeed early. But you see guys like get thrown aside. Geno Smith is the perfect example. Late career, big time success. Now he's a good starter in the league. That book has not been, closed on Jameis yet, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree. And if depending on how things are going, we can get into that. The NFL definitely has a QB development problem, and if teams aren't more patient, and I also think it starts in the lower levels of football because they're just basically playing 7-on-7 until they get to the NFL, because even the college is just straight shotgun spread offenses all the time. We're going to be in a league with a lot of bad quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's only a handful of the guys that you really feel are elite. And outside of that, there's not even that many. There's some serviceable ones, and then there's a lot of garbage spread throughout the league. So when I'm looking at the Chargers offense, J.K. Dobbins was getting a lot of early season love, and we're all big J.K. Dobbins fans. I'm not going to slander the guy, being a Buckeye.
Go Buckeyes.
He's got 500 yards on the season right now, so he's on pace to be a little over 1,000 for the year at this pace. But he's averaging, through his games, 3.4 yards per carry against the Saints, who have an awful defense, 2.9 yards per carry against the Cardinals, 3.8 yards per carry against Denver, only 2.3 yards per carry against Kansas City, and 2.9 yards per carry against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, none of that's real good.
You know what I mean? So it's not like J.K. Dobbins is out here just absolutely gashing people yet, but his highest game was 96 yards. He got it on 25 carries. He's only got 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. the Browns defense has been balling out the last 3 weeks.
If we can shut down Saquon and essentially shut down Derrick Henry, I'm sorry, J.K. Dobbins, you're next.
Yes, I feel this defense might have started a little shaky early in the year, but they have really started to put it together now. We're dealing with injuries to JOK, and Denzel's going to play, but is he full go 100%? Or like Kenny said, is he only going to be playing certain downs? Are they going to have him on a snap count? But I feel really confident in our defense's ability to shut down this offense, considering that they've been shut down by pretty much everybody they played.
Dude, they have to be feeling good. I mean, like, we've all played football at this table, and if you know that your offense is going to go on long, sustained drives, you're feeling way better about yourself on the defensive side to get that breather that you need, right? I mean, I can't imagine being between, like, say, the Raiders game and the Philadelphia game where you're kind of going, well, it's 3 and out every time. By halftime, you're gassed.
Yeah.
They weren't gassed against the Ravens. The Ravens are just good, and we just outlasted them because we actually had something in the tank. And I see more of that with the Chargers because their offense is kind of mediocre, right, based on the numbers.
Oh, yeah, for mediocre, I mean, that just speaks to their wide receiver core. Like, there's really nobody in the Chargers wide receiver core that worries me the way that, like a Zay Flowers or even Rashad Bateman with his route running and speed to get down the field and everything had some concerns with the Ravens and all that, these teams we've played. I mean, Ladd McConkey's a rookie, and he's more of a intermediate route running type of guy. Outside of that, Quentin Johnston has been a kind of a bust for a first-round pick. I mean, he's doing a little better this season, but still, he's a drop candidate every time the ball comes his way. And Josh Palmer's been a huge letdown for them in a season that they expected him to be much more than he has been. So, just there's not a whole lot of options for them. I think this is a game where our defense, if we control it the way we have been, and our offense can just, it doesn't even have to be super explosive. It just needs to sustain drives, pick up first downs, don't go 3 and out like you said, Kenny, all the time. And this is a game where, I mean, the path for us to win is right there.
Yep.
I think you got to come out and get up early.
Yeah.
They do not have the offense. They're not a come-from-behind offense, and they certainly don't want to have to throw the ball 50 times. With this wide receiver core, I mean, like you just mentioned, I would say their wide receiver core is not mediocre. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad wide receiver core. Ladd McConkey's probably their best one. He's a rookie. Okay, a rookie slot receiver. They have not much, and it's not like Jim Harbaugh is known for explosive, high-passing attack offenses. Even going back to his days at Stanford with Andrew Luck, they were still very much a run-heavy football team, physical, and then Andrew Luck, would do what he did out of the play action. And then he goes to the NFL with Colin Kaepernick, and it's him and Greg Roman are together, and it's the read option offense and running the ball a ton. And then he goes to Michigan and he builds up their offensive line. And there were times, J.J. McCarthy attempt 3 passes and a half.
Yeah.
So their identity is not to get behind and have to come out and sling the ball around 40 times in this football game. So if you can come out and you can jump on them early and you can get up 10 at the half or something, you're going to put a lot of pressure on them and take them out of their comfort zone and make them one-dimensional, and that doesn't fit what they want to do. They want to come out and they want to ball control. They want to keep the ball out of your offense's hands. They want to be physical up front. They want to have the time of possession. They want to grind out these games and win close. So I think if you can come out swinging and you then get the crowd energy. We had guys who were at the game last week who said the energy in the stadium was just different than it had been earlier. I think if we can come out, we can look impressive early. The crowd, we as Browns fans, we feel like things are changing. It's the most optimistic I've ever been about a 2-win football team, So I think, and I don't think I'm alone thinking that. So I think if we come out and first possession we go down and get a touchdown or something like that, and we jump on them early, that crowd's going to be electric. And they're flying across the country.
Yes.
They're playing a 1 o'clock game. So this is 10 a.m. their time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the chips are stacked against them in this game. And so I'm excited to see what we do. And I want to see us continue to take that next step. We looked so much better last week. Coach, we looked more disciplined. Mm-hmm. Our time management was good. Our balance on offense was better. Everything was better last week, and I want to continue to build on that. I don't want it to be a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, shout out producer Kyle. So all the video switching and everything, Kyle's over here running everything for us. We were driving up here today because he's going to come to the game with me tomorrow, and I said, a couple weeks ago, I already had these tickets and everything. I was like, man, I don't really want to go to the game. Like, I don't really want to fight with all the traffic and do all this stuff. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. And then it wasn't just the fact that we won. Like, I'm not trying to be a delusional Browns fan. Oh, they won a game. It was the way they won, and it was who we won against that it's like I'm re-energized. I've got all this just hype about the team finally. I mean, this is what it was supposed to be like all season, and now, at 2-6, that hype could be diminished a little bit if we were completely out of the playoff race, but we're not. Like, and this game tomorrow, we talked about on the way up, this is a playoff atmosphere. Like the last year was for the Jets game, where if they beat the Jets, they clinch, they're in the playoffs. Well, this week's kind of a playoff game because we have to beat the Chargers, who's ahead of us in the standings. Yeah. And if we, like you said the other night, if we lose, it's over. That path is gone pretty much.
I truly feel this is a season-defining game, where if we win and we head into the bye on a 2-win win streak, and we have the Saints coming out of that bye to potentially be heading into that Pittsburgh game on a 3-game win streak, the season feels a lot different. If you lose this game heading into the bye and you're 2-7, the season, and you lose to a team that's ahead of you in the wild card spot, the season's over.
Especially with the trade deadline right on the other side of the weekend.
All of a sudden, those Zadarius Smith rumors will be pumped way up again, and he might not be the only one. A lot of these guys are in the last year of their deal that we might not be keeping around long term. We might be trading lots of guys if we lose this football game. So I want to win this game because I don't want to watch that Browns team. I don't want to watch a Browns team play football that has no hope for the rest of the season. We're just playing games because they're scheduled, but there's not really any point. Wins and losses don't matter at this point. Honestly, if we lose this game, winning hurts us more than losing does going forward, just in terms of a draft pick and where you're going to be picking in the draft. So I don't want to watch that. It's too early in the season to be watching that kind of Browns football. I want to watch games that matter from here until the end. And I said this on the preview. We picked a good year to get off to a bad start. Most years, if you start 2-6, the season it's already over. You have no shot. And if we beat the Chargers and the Vikings beat the Colts, we will be slotted into the last wild card spot as of right now. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, I think it depends on what happens with the Bengals and the Dolphins too this week, but
I'm not sure. Colts and the Vikings.
Yeah,
and I would say that the Vikings are probably most certainly favored over the Colts. So we control our own destiny right now in terms of the wild card spot.
Which is crazy to say. I wanted to shout out, you mentioned the chat. Thomas Howard in the chat said, no sure wins ahead, but damn, I love this team again. That's exactly what we're talking about. And then Irish Spaghetti says, Jim Harbaugh has seemed to have Ohio teams number lately, but I'm pretty sure you would agree probably can't cheat as much this time around, right?
Yeah. Hey, if we can get 2 losses out of the 2 Harbaughs, I'll be feeling
back
to back. That'd be unreal. I definitely hear what you were saying about the excitement of the game and like driving to it. It was on a whole nother level for me because that win helped me feel better about telling all you guys to come out to this, because I'm like sitting there going, man, what are we going to expect? And not only am I telling our dog pack to get out through this, I'm telling like all the people that are sitting here, you got our presidents, you guys got to bring some people out. We want to raise some money to help some kids out through the Browns Foundation. And I'm going like, is this going to be worth it? It's going to be a lot of money to get out this way, And I'm glad everything worked out as far as the game. Winston, like it's really like reinvigorating to know that you're into something and that the actual roster is living up to some of its potential. That feels really good. Getting Chubb back. Hopefully Miles has a game. Seeing Denzel again out this week after, being in the protocol or whatever. It's awesome. And if that line can take the offensive line, can take another step, man, oh man, will I ever be feeling that much better,
Speaking of the offensive line, I saw Jed Wills and DeJuan Jones are both healthy, and they haven't declared a starter yet. Who are you guys starting at left tackle?
If they start Jed Wills, I'm going to lose my voice screaming, just mad tomorrow.
Oh, man. I found Joey Bosa. I know what I'm hoping for. The turnstile.
Yeah.
There's no way you can put Jed Wills out there, in my opinion. Just do not do it. Especially, I'm not changing anything in our offense in terms of personnel from last week. We finally played a good game. So just keep the cohesion, keep that offensive line playing together. DeJuan Jones had what I felt like was his best game of the year, and it was at left tackle. Not to mention, if you can get Jed Wills is not your left tackle of the future. He's not.
Nope.
But DeJuan Jones could be. So this is a chance to see do you got to go get a left tackle, or do you have the left tackle on your roster? So don't bench him. He just played a great game. Let him go out. If he's healthy, let him go out there and continue to play. And you got Jed Wills that you can use as a swing tackle now on either side if needed. I'm not putting a healthy DeJuan Jones back on the bench after his best game for a guy who's literally been a turnstile anytime he's been on the field this year.
Hey, there is a fullback role that might be needed in some short line and goal line situations.
Isn't it crazy what like a good win and a good offensive execution can do for your outlook, for everybody?
Man.
I mean, we'll talk about the wide receivers, I'm sure, here in a little bit, but sticking with the line, I mean, a couple weeks ago we were saying, man, this team needs a whole lot of pieces, like we're missing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see the offense being competently run, and it's like, okay, hang on a second. Maybe, if, like you said, if DeJuan Jones can be that left tackle, maybe we're good. Jack Conklin's still under contract for another year or so.
Yep.
Okay, we're cool there. We've still got Bitonio, Posick, they're all under contract. And all of a sudden it's like, Teller's the only question mark with Zinter in there and everything and the contract for Teller. So maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was.
Who knows with Zinter? If I broke my leg and I'm not playing in the NFL a year later, I don't think I'd be ready to go. You know what I mean? So maybe he was forced a little bit in there before I know he's healthy, but maybe he just wasn't ready. Who knows? Rookies make mistakes. It is what it is. I think he's still got a good outlook, so we'll see what happens.
Shout out Fatal Gnome with a beer donation. He says we look thirsty from talking so much on a good show.
Definitely parched.
You guys don't have to give us money, but if you want to, we'll take it.
And we'll drink it. Don't worry. We will drink it down.
If you're wondering what he's talking about, and if you just hopped in, you weren't here at the opening, we are coming to you live tonight from the Grindstone Tap House in Berea, Ohio for the Browns Backers Bash, sponsored by the Berea Browns Backers. That's a lot of That's a lot to say.
Say it 3 times fast.
There's already a good turnout out here. They're going to be doing raffles, giveaways. I think there's a signed Nick Chubb football, a signed Elijah Moore football, a couple other prizes.
Got a game card from the Chargers game 2 years ago. It has Tristan McKenzie and Austin Hedges were the Dog Pound captains, and they signed that. It's one of 100 that are out there.
Nice.
There's also some other Browns stuff.
So there's a lot of cool stuff. There's Browns t-shirts, leaf and filter gutter protections here, giving away Browns beanies and doing demonstrations. So it's a good turnout. So again, if you just hopped in, you're wondering why we're not in the studio, come on down to the Grindstone Tap House if you're local. It's a good time. A lot of good food, obviously a lot of good beer. So it's been a good time so far, and the night's just getting started. There'll be a band here later. I'm the lead singer. No, I'm just playing.
So Blake's going to really need some more beer donations. Get the vocal cords loosened up.
No, everybody here would need a lot of beer if I was going to be the lead singer of the band. So
this is a good podcasting voice, right?
Yes.
My
smooth, silky tones are for one thing and one thing only.
Podcasting.
A guy whose name I saw in the chat I wanted to talk about is Cedric Tillman. I think he's a reason a lot of us are feeling better about the supporting cast, maybe a supporting cast that we weren't so high on, which we talked about. It was tough to evaluate them with the quarterback play we were getting. But his last 2 games, he's been the #1 fantasy receiver in football, and he's playing like one of the better receivers in the National Football League the last 2 weeks. Do you guys look for him to have another solid game? This will be his biggest test in terms of secondaries that he's faced.
Yeah, so the thing to keep in mind, too, with Tillman, just going through stats, before Amari Cooper left, the highest percentage of snaps that Cedric Tillman played this season was 37%. That's it. 37% of snaps. The day Amari Cooper leaves, he goes out there the first game, 82% of snaps. Then last week, 90. So he has become, he was just like a limited role time player, and now he is a full-time, lead time receiver for this team. So, as long as he's on the field for 80+% of snaps and he's getting upwards of 6-7 targets, I think he's going to do some stuff with them.
This is just kind of a question that somebody posed to us in our Dog Pack Discord preview episode the other night. How many games until you feel confident saying that Cedric Tillman is, our number one and he's good enough to be our number one?
I don't get me wrong. Don't hear what I'm saying. I like Cedric Tillman a lot. I don't know if he is a number one receiver in the way that a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or some of these high-profile Malik Neighbors, like these elite. But I think that he can be a super solid number 2 wide receiver, a guy that can play such a complementary role to an elite guy that there's a very small distinction between the two. You know what I mean? And I always use T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati as that example with him.
Yeah, so, he's got the size for number one, and like I always kind of compare it to Thielen and Diggs when they were in Minnesota with Stefanski. One guy is going to move the chains, the other guy is going to take the top off. He kind of did both last game from what I saw, so he could possibly be number one. The other thing is just with the receivers, and since we're touching on them, they've all been open all year long.
Yeah,
and
they have
so, been. I mean, if I'm really going to look at it, I would say based on size, and if you're checking down, you'd want Tillman at his size to get the ball. You want Judy to blow the top off because he's not really any faster, and I made the comparison to Diggs, so I'll bring this back up again. They're basically the same size. They have the same speed. They're the same guy. It's just Diggs has way more credentials than he does, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's how you may want to use them. And then all of a sudden, like you said last time, Elijah Moore has just shown up.
Yeah.
He's shown out.
I was going to talk about him too, but just real quick on Tillman. I know I said like T. Higgins, but I think one of the comps that I've been seeing a lot in our comments section and on YouTube and stuff that I agree with completely is Michael Pittman in Indianapolis, because he can profile as your top wide receiver on your roster. He's not like an explosive athlete. He doesn't have that like wiggle that they talk about or whatever, but he's the big body receiver. He's a contested catch guy. You can throw him, the ball down the field along the sideline. He's going to go up and probably come down with it, which over the last 2 weeks, Tillman is 4 of 4 on contested catches, which is pretty impressive.
A comparison I saw, which makes me think that he can be a number one, is Nico Collins.
Well, that's a good point.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good one too.
And Nico Collins is definitely a number one wide receiver.
Oh yeah, he definitely is.
You know what I mean? I think there's a couple tiers of number one receivers.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I think Nico Collins is the number one. If Michael Pittman didn't have Anthony Richardson, he's a number one. There's only a couple. There's only one. There's Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I mean, like who else would you put in that? They're basically 2 of 2.
Yeah,
there's
I think
not many of those guys.
CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors is looking like
Lamb,
that guy.
CeeDee Lamb can make offense on his own.
Yeah. I'm not putting Malik Neighbors in that category yet.
Not yet, but he profiles that way for sure.
But so CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, those are your unicorns. But then there's guys like A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, Brandon Ayuk. These are number one wide receivers who aren't necessarily unicorns. I think Cedric Tillman, I don't think he's a unicorn. He definitely has the skill set to be a number one wide receiver for your football team.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, of course, everybody would love to say we have a Justin Jefferson, but they don't grow on trees.
No.
You know what I mean? There's only a few of them out there, and you got to usually have a top 3 or 4 pick to get one of them. The one guy in here, he's the Saints game looks tougher now with Carr back. This is Irish Spaghetti Man. You got to get off the ledge. You're very pessimistic. The Saints look awful. Derek Carr played.
They were losing Derek Carr.
Games with Derek Carr. He was playing horribly after the first 2 weeks. Their defense, they might as well trot. You might as well be going against air.
Isn't that a Joe Woods defense? We know all about that.
Yes, it is. I'm glad you brought that up.
Run, man.
You know what I mean? So the Saints game doesn't look tougher all of a sudden with Derek Carr. I'm sorry. They were losing badly with Derek Carr. I don't like anything the Saints do. I don't like their coaching staff. They have some talent, and that's basically it in terms of Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. Outside of that, I'm not really worried about anything on their roster. He was talking about he just thinks the Browns are going to fall off. He doesn't think they can do it 2 games in a row. Outside of the 7 games with Deshaun this year, the Browns have been very good for a season last year and a game this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take away just the awful, abysmal quarterback play that we watched the first month and a half of this year. The Browns have been one of the best teams in football. They won 11 games last year, and they just won a game against what was considered the hottest team in football. The Ravens people had them as the number 1 team in football right now when we played them.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden,
they're on a 5-game win streak.
Yes. Well, no, they came down a 5-game win streak because they're only 4-3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Well, they were 5-2 last week. They lost 2 and then they won 5 straight coming into us.
Really? I thought they were only 4-3 right now.
Nope, they're 5-3 now.
3, yeah.
So they'd won 5 in a row, and then they lose to us. So we just beat the hottest team in football. It was definitely considered the best offense in football.
Didn't they have like a 9.5 point favor over us?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be feeling like, because we emotionally won that game, you have to take a look at just human nature, and you let down a little bit, okay? But you will let down more on the road than you will. It's back-to-back games. I mean, you got to be feeling good. You got to be rested up. You don't have to do anything. You're here, you know? There's not that extra stuff that you have to do to get somewhere, you know? The Chargers have to do that, right? And they won last week too, but, I mean, I just feel like while the win was emotional, the things that needed to happen, the things that we told were going to happen, happened, and that's what's going to create like a belief, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to propagate this to go forward towards a win. Like, I mean, I'm not guaranteeing it or anything like that. You never know in the NFL. But, I mean, I feel way better about being at home and getting things done right to catapult this into, like, a winning streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to touch on Elijah Moore because you had mentioned Elijah Moore. We were talking about Tillman and everything. I mean, the dude, his high on the season was Jacksonville back in week 2. He had 8 targets, 6 for 44. And after that, I mean, we're talking 2 catches, 1 catch, 3, 1. And then all of a sudden it was 6, 8. He had 41, 85 yards last week. He had 12 targets. He was a target leader last week. I mean, we were talking about Tillman, but I think he had, 10 or 11 targets, maybe 9 last week. I can't remember. But Moore was the leader, and it just goes to show that when you get the competent quarterback play, everybody else can do their job to the best of their ability. And a guy like Elijah Moore, we'd kind of written him off, and now he's showing him. What excites me the most about what I'm seeing from Elijah Moore is not Elijah Moore. It's what I think Jamari Thrash could do if he was given an opportunity, and which doesn't necessarily have to be forced if we're going to keep winning games. But I think that there's some excitement, at least for me, with Jamari Thrash for the future.
I would like to see him get touches in some way. I mean, obviously, you don't want to get him hurt and destroy your wide receiver depth, but like on kick return, I mean, right now, isn't Deontay Foreman returning kicks?
Yeah,
a bigger bruising running back. You know what I mean? With the new kickoff, you would think that you would want to put somebody with a little bit of speed back there. You know what I mean? So, can he return kicks? Can he return punts? Can you throw him a couple screen passes in a game? Or I'd like to see that guy get the ball because he's maybe arguably our most explosive athlete. And
could be, yeah.
Even though I think the Browns wide receiver core is better than they were made to look for the first month and a half, as evidenced by the game they just had against the Ravens, we still lack top-end, scare you with the ball in his hand speed.
Right, yep.
We have a lot of really good possession receivers, and if you scheme them, you can scheme them open and hit them on the run. They can get you some yards after catch. But we don't have anybody in the wide receiver core right now that you're running an RPO and you just sling it out to him and he makes the first guy miss and gets you 20. We don't. Who do we have to do that?
I mean, the guy who's supposed to be able to do that is Jerry Jeudy. I think he's the guy that theoretically you get him in space, get him the ball in space, and he should be able to make a guy miss and get some yards after catch with it. But we haven't seen much yet.
Well, we've seen Tillman. Like, I mean, his first touchdown, like he ran over some guys, made some moves. You know, and
he wasn't going down.
No, and that's what I like about that guy. Just with his size, you can't just arm tackle that guy. Like, he's a big dude and he's fast enough. And I think that could possibly be him. But Elijah Moore is kind of a stout guy too, so you never know. But maybe we really just want Njoku and him being at tight end, getting those things and knocking guys over and being those angry runs that we seen last year. I'd like to see an angry run this year, man. You know, and he's I know we were talking, since I'm talking about tight end, one thing we were talking about, maybe a potential trade if we start to roll, you know, we win this week and the deadline's, you know, coming up. I would like to see another, like, tight end, you know, instead of Akins, you know. I don't know who it would be or who would be available, but somebody that's just a little bit bigger, just can roll some guys and is a great blocker, you know. Get it out in the flats, take it for a ride, take some players for a ride, you know. I would love to see that, but...
Speaking of Njoku, I did see that he was questionable. Now he's healthy. He's
okay,
good to play.
good.
So that helps the run game. We see some people talking about games we can afford to lose and not afford to lose. Obviously, this is not a game we can afford to lose.
No.
But just kind of broad picture, do you think 9-8 can get you into the playoffs this year in an AFC where I believe there's like 10 teams in the NFL right now that only have 2 wins, and I think 6 of them are in the AFC. So do you think you can sneak in a wild card game with only 9 wins this year?
Based on the way things are going, I'm just going to say yes for now and I want that, you know. But yeah, the AFC's not winning. So I mean, how many years have we seen the NFC put a 7-9 team in when it was 16 games, right?
So many times, man. It's so frustrating. And it might be our turn this year in the AFC to have that happen, because if you look at the standings, 1 through 7 right now are the only 7 teams with winning records. Everybody after that is either 500 or below.
Okay.
And the first team there is the Colts. And I know they just switched to Joe Flacco for the rest of the season, but like I've been saying, their defense is just bad, you know, and I just don't think they're going to go on the type of run with Joe Flacco that the Browns were able to, because our defense bailed us out of a lot of stuff last year when Joe was, you know, turning the ball over and stuff. And we'll see how it goes for them, but right now it's just Miami, the Jets after their win the other night, Cincinnati and Indianapolis in front of us before the 7, then, of course, the Chargers.
I'm not worried about the Jets.
No.
The Jets are bad.
They're so bad.
They got to play the Texans on a short week after they already lost Nico Collins, just lost Stephon Diggs. C.J. Stroud went out in that game for a little bit and was banged up.
Yep.
The Jets are a dumpster fire. I'm not worried about the Jets. And I'm sure other teams are saying, I'm not worried about the Browns after 1 win. That's fine. You don't have to be. But that doesn't mean we have to be worried about you either.
That's right.
You know, and like you mentioned, the 3 teams that are up there that we're competing with for that last wild card spot, we play all of them.
Yep.
We play the Dolphins. With a healthy Tua are arguably the toughest threat. And I don't know, where do we play them?
In Cleveland.
It's
so that helps.
between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, it's
So-
like late December or January. I can't remember, but it's cold. It'll be cold.
It's it's easier to play them in all that speed, making them travel up here and playing in the cold than it is to go down there and play them in 100-degree heat with 80% humidity and you're sucking wind chasing Tyreek Hill around all game.
So what Blake's saying is buy electric cars so we can get the ambient temperature down to where it used to be 20 years ago, so we can just freeze the fish.
Yeah, and then you'll not convince me that we won't drop 50 on the Bengals if Jameis Winston's playing and he's playing well like we think he's going to.
Yeah.
We should have killed them. They're bad. They're a bad football team, and then the Colts. We control our own destiny in terms of this last wild card spot. We just have to string wins together.
We gotta win. We gotta win. We gotta win. I mean, that's the name of the game, man. Stack wins. Just get it done, and we have the talent to do it. We have the defense to do it, and now that we have guys that can move the ball, move the chains, we have Chubb back. Just make it happen, boys, because I know these guys want to play together. They look like they want to play together. They look like a team. Let's get it done.
Bring that back up. Thomas Howard said, do you think we're the only playoff caliber team that's currently under 4 wins? So who's under 4 wins right now?
So under 4 wins, you've got the Dolphins, us,
playoff caliber.
Then you've got the Raiders. No. Jacksonville.
Definitely not.
New England.
No.
Tennessee.
No.
Okay, so no.
No, I would say, hopefully us, and probably the Dolphins.
Because
Remember, the Dolphins' defense isn't very good this year.
No, but they can drop 60 on you, man.
They could, but if they don't.
And
yes. I know. I get you.
They don't lose many games that Tua plays. If you go back and look, ever since Mike McDaniel's been there, if Tua plays, they win most of the time. And if Tua doesn't play, they almost exclusively lose. I don't know if they've ever won with a backup. I think last year they hadn't. I don't remember if they won a game this year with a backup playing or not.
They need the savior, P.J. Walker.
I don't remember if Tyler Huntley won the one game he started or the second game. I'm not sure. But with Tua, they are definitely dangerous if Tua is playing. You can't bank on the fact that Tua is going to be playing 5 weeks from now. You know what I mean? He's one stiff wind away from having his 8th concussion. Yeah. And it seems every time he has one, it's worse. You know, so no, I would say us and the Dolphins probably the most playoff caliber team, if you can say that about a team with only 2 wins at this point in the season. So I like our odds, I really do, and I really like you said. Based on what the AFC is doing, I think this could be the year that 9 wins gets you. And we just saw the Buccaneers win their division with 9 wins last year.
Yeah,
I don't think we're winning the division with 9 wins, but I think we could get a wild card spot with 9 wins. And I talked about this on the preview episode. Is if we get to 9 and we don't make it, it sucks. But that means we turn some things around. That means we're playing real good football from here to the end of the season.
Yeah, and all the stuff that I was so worried about the first half of the season, or the first part of the season, we were just sucking and losing. And I mentioned it so many times on the show. I was just so worried about the losing culture, getting back into this organization, being that cancer, ruining the young guys that we still have on this team. We've got a lot of our core guys under contract for like 2-3 years coming up. Like it's like everyone wants to talk about this rebuild and stuff. Like we're not in a position for a rebuild. Like we've got people under contract. We're still good to go. So the losing and that whole mentality was so frustrating. And if we can just, like you said, 9-8, even if we don't make the playoffs, we get out of that mentality, we get back that winning culture. Kevin reinvigorates this locker room. Everybody's back on board. I feel much better going into 2025.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up because, I mean, we're in a division, and we look up to the guys that have had our number over the last couple of years, and that's what the Steelers and that's what the Ravens do. They just win out. They win preseason games. They run quarterback draws in the preseason so they can just experience winning. We make fun of them for it, but I would rather have that and win a lot than go through a 2-13, 2-14, whatever year to get a pick that may or may not work. Because in reality, what did we say a top 5 pick is? Still like a 75% chance that it'll hit or not. Or
I don't even think it's that high.
It's like 55, was it?
Yeah,
there was a 5 in it anyways.
And it depends on what position you're going after too. So the whole draft pick thing, it's such a crapshoot that trying to throw away a seat, there's obviously teams that now are in the point where their fan base has to kind of have that mentality, but I lived that way forever. I don't want to live that way anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I've seen enough losses in my 49 years on this planet. I don't need any more. You know what, Browns? You want to win this season out? I'll be damn happy with that. Let's go, Brownies. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hoo, hoo.
All right. What do you guys want to take a quick 5-minute break?
Yeah, we got to get some beer that Fatal Gnome got us.
Yeah,
sure.
We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, go shake some hands, kiss some babies. Again, if you're just jumping in, we're coming to you live from the Grindstone Tap House at the Browns Backers Bash, sponsored by the Berea Browns Backers. We're going to be here from at least 5 to 8. The band's going to start at 8. If you're local, Cleveland, Akron, obviously Berea, come check us out, come hang out, come say what's up, maybe jump on a mic, say hello. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, go talk to some of these people. I'm going to buy some tickets. They're giving away signed Browns memorabilia. So it's a good time out here. Come check us out again. We're at the Grindstone Tap House. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off with code DAWGS, DAWGS at manlybands.com. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard game section of Bodden's website where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN sports.com/DAWGS, DAWGS, and use promo code DAWGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/DAWGS. Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/DAWGS, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/DAWGS, DAWGS, and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/DAWGS.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off with code DAWGS, DAWGS at manlybands.com. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, Baden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Baden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Baden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Baden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Baden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Baden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Baden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Baden Sports, BADEN sports.com/DAWGS, DAWGS, and use promo code DAWGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BadenSports.com/DAWGS. Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/DAWGS, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/DAWGS, DAWGS. and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/dogs.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reniker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is sponsored by
All right,
Manly.
Good.
We're back.
What's up? Thank you if you're still in here. It looks like a lot of you guys are, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us through the commercial break. Joining us is Tyrone Singleton, running back for Baldwin Wallace, and it's slipping my mind. What is the mascot again? I know it's a bee, right?
Yeah, we're the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets. All right, I knew. Running back. So I guess before we get into Browns talk, just how's the season going?
It started off good. We started off undefeated, and then we had a rough stretch. We went on a 3-game losing streak, but we just had our game today. We won like 55-17.
Who'd you guys play?
Muskie.
Okay.
So we're getting back on that good stretch.
That's you guys play like Mountain Union.
Yeah, Mount
and all
Union, John Carroll, all them teams.
So obviously some of the heavy hitters in Division III.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If anybody's listening not from Ohio, like Baldwin Wallace, Mount Union, Mount Union's won a ton of national championships at Division III level. So it's good quality Division III football. What's the college football experience like? I mean, I never played in college. Josh didn't play. What's it like balancing student life with football life? Because I know football is a huge commitment.
I'm a sophomore, so when I was a freshman, it was pretty hard to get adjusted to because obviously in high school, you wake up, go to school for however long, and then right after you have football, and then you're done. With this, we wake up in the morning like 5:30, 6, go to football, live, do film. Then you have classes, and then after that classes, you got football, and after football, you have homework. It was a lot to digest and get adjusted to, but now that I did, it's good. This time management skills is something you have to get good at.
So I would be terrible at it. I'm late to everything. So, again, we're coming to you guys live from the Grindstone Tap House here for the Berea Browns Backers Bash. Tyrone Singleton with us, running back for Baldwin Wallace. Obviously, big Browns fan. How you feeling heading into tomorrow's matchup?
I like it. I'm going to be there, actually.
Are you?
Yeah,
good,
I got season tickets with my dad and brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
we're going to be there tomorrow.
Do you feel like the Browns? Do you feel like they took a turn last week? Like, how do you feel about them heading into this week as opposed to 3 weeks ago?
I like it way more. I like the way Winston was throwing the ball. He wasn't holding the ball too long. I feel like that was one of our biggest issues, was holding the ball too long, not getting out to our receivers. I like how he was just throwing it before those receivers even got there, giving them a chance. I like the way our defense was playing. It looked like we're getting that swag back a little bit.
For sure.
So I think I'm liking the way it is going to be next week or tomorrow.
What do you think was the biggest change for the Browns? Do you think it was, we put this poll out on all of our social media pages, do you think it was Winston the big change? Was it the play calling? Is it getting Chubb back and getting him a little bit more run? What did you think was the biggest difference maker?
I think it was the play calling.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you see differently with the play calling that you liked?
I feel like there was just more shots being taken. I feel like when Watson was in, first I feel like he wasn't getting a lot of time in the backfield already, and then the plays that you're calling, they're deep shot plays, so he's not having enough time to read those plays downfield. Mm-hmm. That's really all I can say about that. And I think Watson, since he was getting so much pressure, even so when he was getting sacked in all those times, and then he's feeling that pressure even when the pressure isn't even there. So I feel like if we would have maybe ran the ball a little bit more, we're not running the ball enough, and then maybe adding them short drag routes or cross routes or whatever like that, just to get them more comfortable and not just trying to go for that deep shot every single time.
Yeah, for sure. So be kind of interesting, running back, obviously. Nick Chubb coming back from an injury that, honestly, even he thought might have been career-ending.
Yeah.
And I know when we watched it, it was devastating. What have you seen out of him since he's come back? Do you think, does he look like Nick Chubb to you?
I feel like after an injury like that, it takes you a while to get back into the groove. I think what Nick Chubb needs, he just needs that one game where he just busts one, maybe get like a good 70, 100-yard game rushing, just to get his confidence back up and for him to realize that he's Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah, one thing I noticed for sure last week was And it's not nothing against Jerome Ford, but when Jerome Ford, we talked about, gets hit at the line of scrimmage, that's pretty much it. Like, he's going down. But with Nick Chubb, it's a pleasure watching him because he'll get hit at the line and he'll still find a way to edge him, sidestep a guy or fall forward, and he'll still get 2.5 yards a game, and it's like that's what we were missing big time on the offense.
Yeah, and the game of inches too.
So. Oh, yeah.
How hard is it? I don't know if you've ever experienced an injury like that, and if you haven't, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but how hard is it to, as a running back, you have a knee injury like that, and then to come back and not play scared almost, you know what I mean? Like, not be trying to protect yourself. How much is the mental aspect of it?
Really, I broke my ankle in high school, my junior year. And it was mentally, I feel like it affects you more mentally than physically, because that year, that was our best year. We were undefeated. We were, I think, ranked number 2.
Okay.
And, in Division II. And then after I broke my ankle, I got surgery, and my goal was to try to come back by playoffs. Okay. And then I did, but I wasn't 100%. I rushed the process. I was only 60% maybe. So that offseason, I just trained to get better, work back to 100%. And then my toughest thing going into those scrimmages or those first few weeks was getting my confidence back. I was a little timid on that leg because, I was scared of it happening again, maybe running timid through the hole because, I don't want to get hit right there or whatever. But I think what really helped me was those first few weeks, them continue to give me the ball. And then once I got my confidence back, I feel like that's where I started to progress, because I think I finished the season over 1,000 yards. I don't know, double-digit touchdowns, I think. Okay. It's just getting that confidence back.
What, just off top, where'd you go to high school at?
I went to Willoughby South.
Okay.
That's where Kareem Hunt went. I don't know.
Oh,
okay. What? I assume he's like good legacy.
Oh, yeah.
Big Kareem. Does he ever come back to school to train?
Actually, yeah. I think one of the teachers there, he used to be the track coach there. His name was Coach Luck. I think he trains them in the off season. He usually comes for a few games, the bigger games, maybe like a rivalry game or whatever. I like seeing him train in the off season. During the summertime, so I usually go to the field and train. Yeah. It's pretty cool watching that.
It was probably pretty cool watching a guy went to your high school play for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So that had to be a pretty cool experience. You go to Baldwin Wallace here. Do you ever get Browns players training at your facility? I know I visited Baldwin Wallace. This was back in 2007, and there was, at the time, there was Indians players. I remember Travis Hafner was there working out. Do you ever get Guardians players or Browns players over there?
We don't get players to our facility, but in the spring, we get to practice at the Browns facility.
Okay.
So at spring ball, it's pretty cool. It's hard to control yourself because sometimes we'll see players. We see Stefanski all the time. We see all the coaching staff there. It's usually when the players are off on vacation or whatever, so we don't really see the players. But I sometimes like going to the bathroom just so I can see you around and all that stuff. It's a pretty cool experience.
It's a good recruiting video for people wanting to come to Baldwin Wallace. If you're a Browns fan, you get to go check out the Browns facility. Run into Coach Stefanski.
Speaking of Kevin Stefanski, how do you feel about Kevin as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns? He's been here. This is his 5th season now. He got the extension and everything, taking us to the playoffs twice, 2-time coach of the year, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with Stefanski, I think he's a great coach, but I think sometimes he just overthinks things.
Well, and that's where we talked about him giving the play calling to somebody else.
Yeah.
Ken Dorsey, Alex Smith, it doesn't matter who. Yeah. Give it to somebody else, and you just execute that CEO role where you manage the game. And I feel like, honestly, this could be the next big step in his career head coaching trajectory. Yeah. Making him even better of a coach. Because I feel like he got, like you said, he got bogged down in that offensive play calling. Sometimes he overanalyzed. It made him be maybe more aggressive than he should be in certain situations. Call some rinky-dink plays that people are always, griping about, all that kind of stuff.
I think whenever you're calling plays and you call something that you're like, man, that was wide open. If we execute it, we score a touchdown or we get a 20-yard gain. And then, so all you're thinking is, I'm going for it here. F that. We should have got it this time. We're definitely going to. And as a head coach, if you're only focusing on head coach stuff, you might be like, hey, let's pump the brakes. We'll get it next time. Let's punt the ball away. Let's be smart. So,
or kick the field goal. We saw that Sunday.
So I thought our time management at the end of this game against the Ravens was huge. I liked the way we our last offensive drive forced the Ravens to use their timeouts. I like how we saved our timeouts to use on defense to give our defensive edge rushers a break, allowed us to see what formation they'd come out in, pop that timeout, so we could, plan for that. Now they have to come out in their second favorite play and that kind of thing. So I thought that was huge out of the Browns. What do you think of? So obviously we traded Amari Cooper, who was our number one, great here for 2 years. What do you think of Cedric Tillman? Do you think it's a flash in the pan, a fluke, or do you think he's got the goods to kind of take over the mantle as our number one?
I mean, I think from last week he showed that he could.
Well, look who we got here. He's going to be coming into frame.
All right, he's good. He dodged all the cords.
We got him.
We
got Chomps here coming in.
Here, come down a little bit. There we go, right down here. There we go.
There we go. Say what's up. I guess it's a good time to say we're at the Grindstone Tap House. Chomps just showed up in the building. Come get your picture taken. Come hang out. Let's go. We're all pumped up for the big Browns game tomorrow. Oh, this thing's live. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
Let's go. Man, again, Grindstone Tap House. We're down here, Browns fans, Chomps, Tyrone Singleton, running back for Baldwin Wallace, joining us. This is super awesome. If you find yourself down here, you come jump on a mic with us. We're talking Browns football. What do you think in terms of the Browns going forward now this season? This is it's like my puppies here. Do you think the playoffs are still in play? We were talking about it earlier. Normally I'd say no, 2 wins at this point, but the AFC's struggling. A lot of 2-win teams in the AFC. Do you think we got it in us?
Well, anything's possible, but our schedule is just so tough. We still have the Chiefs, Dolphins, all them teams, and it's just really tough. If we can keep playing like how we did last week and keep managing the game like that, I think there's a chance, but it's slim, I'd say.
I said the season's not dead, but it's definitely on life support.
Yeah.
and I think if we lose tomorrow, pull the plug. It'll be time to pull the plug on the season. So that's why I think it's such a big game, just in terms of quality football to watch, where if we lose, I think we might start seeing people get traded. You'll see injuries that you would maybe play through if there's no point, you start sitting, that kind of thing, get healthy. So I think it's a big game just for us fans to have quality football to watch.
Yeah.
Man, I had something else I was going to ask, but no, I'm excited for the Browns season going forward. Do you have anything, Josh?
Well, actually, just like for you specifically playing football, is there like anybody in the NFL, any running backs that you try to model your game after, that you watch specifically? You're like, I like how this guy runs, that fits my play style, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
I watched him in college a lot. I would watch his high school highlights. And then I love watching him on the Eagles because I think he's one of the best, not if the best running back in the NFL. And I just like how he's so evasive and uses his strength too. When there's not a hole there, how he creates his own hole and stuff like that, his moves that he does, I like to try to add that to my arsenal sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, Saquon's a great example of how, if you don't have at least an adequate offensive line, because the Giants didn't provide much for him, in terms of blocking when he was there, and it was like you could see the talent, and he had those. I mean, he was still one of the best running backs in the league, and he looked great and everything, but now you see him behind an offensive line that gets the job done, and it's like, wow, look at this guy go. And, as a running back, I'm sure you can – your offensive line is so important.
Yeah. Whenever I have a good game or a good run out of everything, one of the first things that I like to do is thanks my offensive lineman. Hey, good blocks. I see it's wide open, stuff like that. And then if I'm not seeing it, give them encouragement, because it's not – if I'm a player and I just made a bad play, I'd rather say, hey, you got it next time than, hey, you suck. Come on, do better, and stuff like that. So, words of encouragement, too.
As a former offensive lineman, I definitely would have been a little salty if they just said, hey, man, you suck. That would have been tough. I'd have been like, okay, I guess I'm done playing for today. Yeah. How do you feel – do you think the locker room, they played differently? How do you feel about the Jameis Deshaun thing? So you mentioned you thought play calling was the biggest factor. What would you do with Deshaun? So – do you bring him back next year after the injury, or do you think, especially if we go on a run with Jameis, do you think Deshaun's time is done in Cleveland?
I feel like the biggest thing with Deshaun is that I feel like it's very hard for him mentally, because for him, he goes to a away game, he's obviously going to get booed, you know. He goes to a home game, he gets booed. They just want him to play, like, 100%, no mistakes. Like, I feel like the fans already don't like him, and then he's obviously not playing towards his worth right now, so it's hard for him. I think it might be hard money-wise, but I think you have to move on from him and just go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. What we talked about is they might have to find a team that's willing to take his money on the books, and we might have to trade them picks to take him, almost like what, I don't know if you remember when we got Brock Osweiler and we just traded for him and just cut him right away. But we had his money, so the Texans could get rid of his money.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think, do you think Jameis can be a bridge guy, or would you be taking a quarterback in the first round?
I think the way Stefanski wants to run his offense, we need a different quarterback, someone like a Kirk Cousins. We saw Joe Flacco ran the offense. We need a quarterback like that, not like a mobile, like that's not our offense. I feel like our biggest issue is we don't run our offense to our players' benefits. So I think going into the draft, that's what we should look for, our trading-wise.
I completely agree. I feel like 99% of the offensive roster was built to run Stefanski's offense. Our offensive line are maulers. They're not necessarily pass protectors, you know what I mean? And, you know, Chubb's a downhill runner, and Njoku's a big blocking tight end. Obviously, he's great in the pass game too, but he's gotten way better at the run blocking. Yeah. And then we went and we made the trade for Deshaun, and we tried to plug a square peg into a round hole, where we got this spread offense, backyard football kind of quarterback, and we're trying to put him into with all these other guys that are more of a play action 13, 12 personnel, downhill running, you know. So I agree with you. I think it could just, if you were going to trade for Deshaun, you also needed to change your offensive line. You need to, change. You need to get different receivers. If you're going to go to that and build an offense with him, then you needed to change way more than just the quarterback. At least the way I look at it. Is there anybody in the draft you like? Is there anybody you've looked at? I've heard Shedeur a lot. What do you think about that?
I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he'll really fit our system. I mean, there's Travis Hunter.
I'm on the board where if Jameis has a good rest of his season, and you can extend him for a season or two, man, Travis Hunter is really good. And if say this goes off the rails and we only win 2 more games, you'll have a chance to get him. And would you think he'd play corner, or do you think he'd play receiver? Or do you think there's any chance he could play both in the NFL?
I think when he goes into the draft, I think he's going to tell teams I'm playing both positions. The good thing with him is that when you watch him play, he kind of plays like a swag, you know.
Oh, for sure.
There's always touchdown celebrations, or he's always talking or whatever. I think bringing that swag to a team can really improve the situation around them, make them play with that type of swag too.
Can you imagine him and Greg Newsome together? Because Greg Newsome's kind of got that swag to him. He's always a fired up guy. I feel like him and Greg Newsome would be exciting. Those guys could get into some trouble together.
Yeah, he's a generational athlete too. So
yeah, I think playing 2 positions, definitely like 2 premier positions in the NFL. I mean, and the thing is, I think he'll understand too once you get there. You don't want to just play each position half-assed, or not necessarily that way, but just like half-focused, really. Like, hey, I can only play limited snaps on either side because, you know, I can only practice limited side, you know. So I think he would probably end up having to choose. That would be my guess.
This is probably before your time, but Ohio State had Chris Gamble.
Yeah, Chris Gamble was awesome.
And he played both ways. He was Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter. He played cornerback, wide receiver, and he also returned punts. The dude never came off the field for the team. They won the national championship. And then he went to Carolina, and if I remember, he played corner for the most part, but they did play him at receiver some. But for what Travis Hunter would want to do, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody in the NFL play both sides, you know what I mean? I've never seen anybody play both sides like the whole game.
And be a premier player at that position. Like, if you want to be one of the top and, you know, go for that massive second contract in the NFL, which everybody's, you know, gunning for, you got to pick one and excel at it, I think.
But All right. Well, do we want to wrap this up? Maybe take another short break?
Yeah. We'll get another break. Find somebody else. Come up here and chat. Thank you so much, Tyrone, for sitting down with us, man. It was awesome talking to you.
This was awesome. Again, if you're a high school football player in the area, you want to go to Baldwin Wallace, you get to hang out at the Browns facility, you get to hang out with Tyrone.
How about we do that real quick? Do you have any advice for like high school athletes, football players, just trying to aspire to get to that next level in college to play some ball?
I feel like my biggest issue when I was in high school was I didn't socialize myself enough, get myself out there enough. My biggest advice would probably, if you don't already have Twitter, get Twitter, post your highlights on there, post you working out, you just hit a PR on something, post that. Just really get yourself out there, go to camps, talk about yourself, stuff like that.
I know that can be like kind of intimidating for some people. You feel like you're almost, what do I want to say, bragging on yourself a little bit. But you're right, like it's that self-marketing, self-promotion that like it's so easy for people to take it under their own wing now to do that with social media. So I like that advice a lot.
It's one of the, if you want to go get it, I mean, I think the biggest story you always hear is Josh Allen had no offers.
Yeah.
And he was messaging college coaches, and the only one who messaged him back was the guy from Wyoming.
Yeah.
And he goes out there, and now all of a sudden he's, MVP candidate every year in the NFL. So if you want it bad enough, nobody's going to do it for you. You got to go do it. You got to go take it. So I think that's great advice, man. Again, we appreciate you being here. Give a big shout out to Tyrone. And again, if you're in the area, you're a high school football player, go to Baldwin Wallace and play. Be a Yellow Jacket. All right, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off with code DAWGS, DAWGS at manlybands.com. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Bodden's website where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN Sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/dogs. Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/dogs.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reniker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DOGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DOGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off with code DOGS, DAWGS, at manlybands.com. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DOGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DOGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DOGS.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reniker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, Baden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Baden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Baden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Baden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Baden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Baden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Baden's website where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Baden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BadenSports.com/dogs. Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/dogs.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reniker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DOGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DOGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off.
Good. What's up? We appreciate everybody who stuck around, finishing up the commercial break. We are joined on the show now by Tim. He is the president of the North Royalton Browns Backers and also the president of the Leadership Council of Browns Backers Worldwide. Or as I just put it, he's Kenny Mac's boss when it comes to Browns Backers stuff.
That's exactly a true statement.
And Kenny Mac's a tough guy to probably keep in line. You know.
Well, he's a bit of a talker.
Yes, he is.
If you've never noticed.
Yeah.
Right?
So I guess just before we start talking, the current Browns football season, why don't you just tell people if they want to get involved either in joining a local chapter or possibly starting a chapter, like what do they got to do?
Well, we have Browns fans all over the world, right? We have 355 chapters in 14 countries, almost 750,000 people. What separates us, what makes Browns Backers so cool is the work that each of those chapters do in their local communities everywhere. You know, it's more than just show up and let's cheer for the Browns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. The Packer backers do that. The 16 does that. The New Orleans Saints do that. Those idiots in Pittsburgh, I don't know what they call themselves. They do that.
I think they call themselves the idiots in Pittsburgh.
Well, that would be right, right? But no, but if you're community focused, it takes 10 fans, some resolve, and to partner with a location where you can all get together and watch the game. It's a free application process right on BrownsBackersWorldwide.com.
How involved are the Browns then? Because I know like a lot of teams have fan organizations, but I don't know how involved their teams are. The Browns are heavily involved with.
Yeah, there's only 3 NFL teams today that are actually affiliated with their fan clubs.
Okay.
It's us, it's the 12 in Seattle, and it's the Saints.
Okay.
But the Saints in Seattle don't do nearly what the Browns do for us.
Okay. So they're heavily involved. They help you guys get former players, and they help get you guys some of the signed memorabilia. And all that
memorabilia. You know, we have events, well, like this one, right?
Yeah.
That they sponsor, they pay for, things of that nature.
That's awesome. I know we went up to Deshaun's 7-on-7 this year to interview him and some other people. And everybody from the Browns that was at that event was super awesome. They were super nice, super welcoming, helped us set up, helped us get anything we needed. So just since starting this podcast and getting to get just a tiny bit closer to the Browns, like we're still, you know, I'm not shaking hands with Andrew Berry or anything, but, you know, but getting to meet a couple players and getting to meet some people who have worked for the Browns, just everybody's been so helpful and so nice. Sometimes they say don't meet your heroes because you might be disappointed. Everybody I've met that's been affiliated with the Browns has just been awesome.
Yeah, they've been. So this is, I want to say this is our 6th year in North Royalton. And I was affiliated with some other chapters prior. But the Browns have done nothing but support us and help us and answer questions and whatever they could do to support their fan base as we're giving back to our communities.
That's awesome.
It's great.
I want to give a shout out to Chef Brian Kay in the chat. He says the local chapter is the Derby City Browns Backers in Louisville, Kentucky.
That's well.
So we got a Browns backer in the chat.
Yeah, and I know him, and that's all right, man. It's a good chapter.
How cool is that, by the way? Though you just hop on here and they're just somebody you know in the chat. It's a small world.
He's on the console. Yeah.
So we can kind of transition a little bit. What do you think about this Browns season? Obviously not off to the start we wanted, but getting a huge win last week against the Ravens. Do you think the season's worth fighting for right now?
Well, absolutely. So I'm an athlete. I'm a competitor. I'm an old fat athlete, retired competitor.
Same.
All right. But we got 9 games left, right? And I've never been wired to be like, well, this season's done, so I guess we'll just coast.
I don't think you can be a Browns fan and think that way, or every season might be a long season.
The athletes at that level, they're not wired that way, right? That's why we're us and we're doing this, and they're doing that for a living, right?
Yeah, in genetics.
Right, it was a great win last week. It was exciting. We were very fortunate that the Ravens secondary can't catch.
For sure.
Over and over. But it does give us some momentum. I think the offense looked much, much better. Jameis got the ball out of his hands really quickly.
Yeah.
This week I have some concerns on the defensive side. The linebacker is a little scary right now.
Yeah.
This is a running team. We have our 3rd and 4th string linebacker starting.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Diabate? Because he played really well last week.
I don't know if excited is the word. I'm hopeful.
Curious.
I'm hopeful.
Hopeful's good. Hopeful's fair.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
We have a good question in here for you. AAA wants to know, how does he find out where the closest Browns Backers chapter is to him?
All right. It's really simple. You go to brownsbackersworldwide.com, and as you page down, it will say, find a chapter. You click on it, it brings up a map. You can freeform type in, there's a giant map, but you can freeform type in your state or the city or the country, and it'll bring it right up for you.
Well, I did want to shout out AAA too, because I do believe earlier tonight's show he became a Dog Pack member here on YouTube. So thank you, AAA.
Nice.
We appreciate that. Again, we never talk about that, but you can be a Dog Pack member on YouTube as well as Patreon, and on YouTube it's just 99 cents a month. So.
Yeah. And it helps the show out, and it's less than $12 a year for you.
Yeah.
So it helps us out, so we appreciate that. I think a super cool thing about the Browns Backers is it's not just here. I mean, it's literally all over the world. We have London's Browns Backers and stuff like that. That is so cool.
Yeah, the British Bulldogs Browns Backers. So she runs a great, and they gave almost $10,000 last year into the London community. Almost $10,000.
We just almost had a near-death experience.
We've got the band for tonight is setting up right beside us. And when I say right beside us, I mean literally.
Yeah, like on top.
Right on top of us. So if you hear a bunch of slamming stuff, that's them.
This dude just almost dropped it was almost like Final Destination.
I thought we had a speaker coming down the top of this.
And a human.
Oh boy.
So what do you think? What have you liked out of Nick Chubb so far now that he's been back? And how big is that just for the Browns?
So Nick is one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet in your life, and he really, really embodies everything that we kind of represent. He'll retire a Brown. I promise you that. He's not going nowhere. But what he does inside the locker room, as I'm told, is it's not comparable. You know, the work ethic it took for him to come back. And I'll say quickly, because it was quick.
Yeah.
Given the nature of that injury, and he looks good, and his average yards per carry are been up each week now.
Yeah.
His workload's up each week now.
The workload blew my mind last week. 16 carries.
16 carries.
And I thought for the first month back it would be 10 might be the max in a game you would see in the first 4 games, like just easing back, and it's like all of a sudden he comes back, he's a full-time player.
And they threw to him 4 or 5 times that first week.
Yeah.
And they never threw to him.
D's Nuts says, I was a truck driver traveling the country. The best Browns backer bars in Baltimore. True story. So that's behind enemy lines.
I like it.
That's a good place. I know that place too.
All right, Aaron Butler, what do you think about that, buddy?
Yeah.
You're going to get these guys in trouble over that. I think there's one in Pittsburgh also.
There's 2 in Pittsburgh.
2 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, one right downtown and one up, I want to say it's Cranberry.
That's
but
awesome.
Just north.
That's how you know Browns fans are different too, because there's 2 Browns backers clubs in Pittsburgh. I don't know of any Pittsburgh type fan affiliated things in Cleveland. And if there was, I don't know, like it would just be getting vandalized all the time. So those guys wouldn't get out.
I can tell you where. So Pittsburgh doesn't affiliate with
their fan.
Yeah. Thank God, because there's hope for them to evolve. But I guess I shouldn't say that in case the Steelers fans. Hell with them. But I can tell you where the Steelers fans meet locally, but I'm not going to do that because hell with them.
Well, we don't want to be responsible for anything like a Browns fan might do.
No.
So I guess before we wrap up here, predictions for the season, because we've been crazy. We've even been mentioning the P word, even though we only have 2 wins. How do you see the rest of the season unfolding? Do you think we make a run at it, or do you think we're just being crazy hopeful Browns fans?
No. So I see us making a little bit of a run. Most of our losses to this point have been against the NFC.
Yeah.
So from a tiebreaker standpoint, that puts us in a pretty good position.
That's true.
So there's 9 games left. If they were to win 7 of them, that puts us right on the cusp, on the lower end of a wild card maybe. I think that's that may be a little much to ask for.
I think 9-8 might get you in this year because of the AFC is pretty down right now. I think 10 teams only have 2 wins and 6 of them are in the AFC.
Right.
So, no, I think if there's ever going to be a year where you're only going to get to 9 wins and maybe have a chance to sneak in, I think this could be the year. So I'm excited.
Let's hope.
I think it starts tomorrow. I think tomorrow's kind of if we lose, we might start to see a fire sale.
Yeah.
So I think tomorrow's a big game for the Browns in terms of keeping the locker room together and just for us fans to have fun football to watch for the rest of the season.
And we're playing another Harbaugh, so we have to beat him.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. But, all right, man. Well, we want to thank you for coming on here, joining us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everything you do for Browns Backers worldwide. We appreciate you trying to keep Kenny Mack in line. I know that's tough.
That's why I walked the way I do, carrying his big ass around. Gotta tell you, man.
But awesome. We appreciate being here, and thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so Tim's gonna. Thanks again, Tim. He's gonna step away. We've got a bunch of Dog Pack members in the house tonight. We've been mentioning that they've been coming to the event. So we've got a few tables over here.
We might even have an old. We might even have an old dog.
Yeah, we might. We've got some JN in the house.
Yeah.
So we'll get Peter here. The headphones on.
Hey.
What's going on, man?
Hey, evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Man. It's so cool because you've been on the Dog Pack Discord shows, but here you are at the table.
Yes, sir.
This is good
Thanks
stuff.
for having me, man.
Absolutely.
You get to see his face, not just hear his voice. Don't be camera shy. Welcome. This is the bright lights of Hollywood. He just got out of hair and makeup.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So first of all, this is super cool. I got to meet you out in Vegas.
Yep.
But this is a little bit closer to home, so this was easier. This was a shorter drive. But what are you expecting for tomorrow? Let's just get your thoughts. Do you think? Do you think the Chargers are for real at their 4-3 with what they have, or do you think it's a little bit of a fool's gold with what their record is?
I think it's a little bit of fool's gold, and I'll tell you why. They're the most scoring defense in the league, and I think there's a good level of luck with that. Not to take anything away from them because they have some good defensive players that are forcing turnovers, but I think that we can get away with their defense not scoring on us. Okay, so let me put it this way. Jameis is going to throw a couple picks, right? We probably know he's probably going to throw an interception. But as long as we make it an arm punt and don't throw a lazy ball at the sideline to get taken back for a pick six, I think we'll be okay. And I say that because their defense is getting away with a lot based on that Greg Roman-style offense where they just run the ball and chew clock all day long. And you know, they can maybe get a big pass here or there with Justin Herbert. But if we can get them off the field, a big part of that with Denzel Ward playing, big surprise there. I'm honestly shocked.
Yep, same.
Very surprised. Very good surprise. If we can get them off the field early and expose that defense, I think we got a good shot.
Do you think the offense? So J.K. Dobbins, he's only average. I think he's averaging under 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Do you think our defense is going to shut them down? They only average barely a point more than we do.
Yeah, so I know J.K. Dobbins had that really good start for those first 2 games, but, you know, it's just the first 2 games of the year when we thought, like, oh, J.K. Dobbins has the chance to be a top 5 running back. Turns out, what was it, Las Vegas and one other team? That turned out to be 2 of the worst run-defending teams in the league. And ever since then, he's averaging 3 yards a carry. Now, I think we should be able to do a good job stopping him. Our defense, as you guys know, they like to take risks and get those TFLs. He might pop off a couple big runs. But I think overall we should keep him pretty low.
That's kind of how it was with Derrick Henry last week.
Yep,
I felt like we
exactly.
kept him under reps. He had the one big, 46-yard run.
The one run, yeah.
And outside of that, he didn't do a whole heck of a lot at all. 10
Agreed.
carries for whatever, 30 yards.
Not a lot,
no.
yeah. And then when you got that big run, I think it was Thornhill did a good job fighting off the stiff arm and saved the touchdown. So there you go.
Yeah.
I talked about JK's stats earlier, and I didn't hit the see all, so I missed his first 2 games. So I said he only had 2 touchdowns. That was a lie. He has 4. It's interesting that he has 535 rushing yards on the season, and 266 of them came in the first 2 games. So,
that's tough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So over half of his rushing yards came in the first 2 games. Since then, his high has been 96 yards. He went from averaging 13.5 yards a carry and 7.7 yards a carry to, like you said, his highest output was 3.8 yards. Everything else has been under 3.
Good.
So I don't fear their offense. And normally with a Justin Herbert, I mean, we had shootouts with this team.
Yep.
But they don't have Keenan Allen anymore. They don't have Mike Williams anymore. I think they're going to struggle to score on us if our defense plays the way they've played the last 3 weeks. Offensively, avoid the turnover. Do you think Do you think this looks more like it did against the Ravens, or do you think that was us capitalizing on a bad Ravens secondary?
Well, that's the thing is like the Ravens secondary has been leaky all year, and we proved it. And you know, we dropped some picks, they dropped some picks, but ultimately none of those were caught, and that was the key part of the game. It's going to be tough, man. It's hard to say because Winston he's seeing things and he's hitting the ball and he's getting it to where it needs to be. The only interception that Jameis almost threw that I thought was a bad decision was the one at the end of the game. Or not the one at the end of the game, the one at the beginning of the game where he tried to throw that into the end zone to nobody.
Yeah, after 8 seconds.
Right. Yeah, right. And this is Jameis's first start in 2 years, right? Something like since 2022. So I want to believe that it'll get better. I don't necessarily think we're putting up 30 or more points against them, but the key is going to be our long, consistent drives, getting some points and getting a lead on the Chargers, forcing them to play out of their plan. Because Greg Roman, we saw it for years against the Ravens. He just loves to run the ball and do the play action and take a shot where he can. If you can take them out of being able to run the ball, I think we win the game pretty easily. We'll take it. If we take a good, strong lead, we got it.
For sure. So before we get you out of here, prediction, who wins and what's the score?
Browns win 23-17.
I like that. I like that. That's a good score pick. Well, man, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Coming to join us, bringing your beard. I like it.
Yeah,
it's a good beard,
man.
Thank you.
So thank you. And I'll come eat some food with you here in just a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, man.
For having me.
Yeah, so we didn't get Justin on the show tonight. He was not able to make it up here. Had some last-minute babysitter issues, so Justin is at home, but at least we got Peter R's beard on the show to kind of fill in, because Justin's always the beard guy on this show. He's got the good one.
I have a very sad excuse of a beard.
Yeah, and I've got patches everywhere, so.
All right, man.
What's going on, Tony?
Oh, it's a pretty good night so
is this Tony the Italian?
Yes, Tony.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I thought that, well, I mean, I was hoping it was you. I didn't know if it was actually you because I'd never seen you before. It's good to see you. You're one of the newer Dog Pack members. Yeah. What do you think? Tell the people why they should join.
It's a lot of fun, man. Like, it's nice where, I work from home, so it's, like, nice to pop in the Discord, see people talking about just the Browns or just anything happening in life. Like, it's a good time. You can vent about anything. I mean, obviously, if you guys keep up with the show, with everything that's been happening, with how bad the Browns have been the past 7 weeks other than last week, it's a great therapy session.
Yes, it is.
Being a Browns fan my entire life, I mean, my family, we go back to late 50s. So my family's seen the Browns win a championship, which I hope one day in my lifetime, get to see that.
Yes.
But never had a group of people to vent about a bad season, because I've seen a lot of them in my lifetime. So it's nice to have those, but last year was a key indicator where it's like a winning season. It's like, man, I wish I had a lot of people to talk to about this is a great time to be a Browns fan. And then join the Discord. Fortunately, it hasn't gone that well so far, but it's a great place to be. I mean, join it if you guys can. It's something that I would, highly advocate for any day of the week.
It's the whole reason we started the podcast is because Josh and I like to just talk about the Browns all the time, and we were like, man, I wish we could talk about the Browns with friends all the time and not, and do it and maybe get rich. No, I'm just joking. So we've knocked out the first part. The second part, we'll see. We're no Joe Rogan. So let's talk about the game tomorrow. What do you expect to see out of the Browns?
So it's going to be a tough game because without JOK, have we got an update on Ward yet?
He's playing.
If he's playing, okay. I haven't seen that yet. So with Ward in net, it's going to be a little bit better. It's going to be better for us with the secondary. Not saying that the Chargers really have a great receiving core, but, I mean, it's nothing that we can't, like we said at the beginning of the season, we can't drink the Kool-Aid. Like, we still got to take that receiving core seriously.
Oh, for sure.
Lad McConkey, although he's a rookie this year, he could look like he could be a very good threat against us. And, I mean, with how our defense has played against some of these wide receivers that we didn't expect them to have big games, and they have big games, it's something that we want to make sure we keep our eye on. But if Diabate can go in and fill in that JOK role, having Ward in there, I think our defense is going to be more than fine. I think Dalvin Tomlinson needs to have another big game like last week against the Ravens rush game, because if we could stop the Chargers from rushing, it's going to be free game for us. I mean, as long as our offense is going to perform as well, and I know that's the biggest if right now, if they're going to replicate anything they did against last week against Baltimore. But if we can do that, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we can go out there and have a almost a blowout game where we go up maybe 24-7 and take a win. But it's all going to depend on the defense because those linebackers are going to be crucial when it's going to come down to these Chargers running the ball.
I really think as long as the injuries to JOK, in Hicks don't cripple this defense, I really think they'll have a tough time scoring on us at home.
Yeah.
This crowd flying across the country, playing what's essentially a 10 a.m. game to them.
Yep.
I really see them struggling to score. For me, is the offense going to be like it was last week, or is it going to be revert back to what it was every other game this season?
100%.
What do you expect? Do you think it was a fluke, or do you think maybe not necessarily 334 and 3 touchdowns and no picks, but do you think we're going to be able to move the ball and put up 20-plus points?
I think it's going to be exactly what you said a couple weeks ago when Winston got named the starter. It's going to be Joe Flacco. It's going to be he's going to get close to 250, 300 yards a game. You're going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns, but you're going to get, maybe 2 interceptions as well. If Jameis is anything like he used to be, he's going to put up big numbers, but he's going to throw the ball to the wrong people. We saw that last week, and I really believe that Jim Donovan's the one that stopped all those. But if it's going to be anything like that, you're going to expect interceptions, especially since, Chargers, they have a really good defense. They have a really good secondary. I wouldn't be shocked if they come up 1 or 2, but I think that's where you bring it in. Like, if our linebackers are going to, fill in for the Hicks and the JOK, even giving up those turnovers, we can go back to last year where we're still going to be in that game. We're still going to win it.
I think if the Browns defense can play the way we think it can, it's okay to have a quarterback that maybe takes a risk or 2. You can afford a turnover if you have a defense that'll go, as long as it's not a pick 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you can go out and if you throw a pick and you have a defense that's just going to force them to go 3 and out and get you the ball right back, taking those chances and stretching the field, it opens up so much. That's what allows you. If you play scared like we were the first 6-7 weeks of the year, that's why you're throwing dink and dunk passes, and maybe you're completing 60%, but you only got 80 yards and you can't put up any points. You got to be willing to stretch the defense, take a few chances, make a few throws.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see if Tillman can keep performing at a high level.
So I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, with Jameis being someone that's going to throw the ball deep regardless. He had guys with Mike Evans. I can't remember if Godwin was.
I think Godwin was.
Okay,
there.
Godwin.
I believe
was
so.
there. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, exactly. So when you guys have a 6'3", 6'4", big body guy, especially Tillman, who, like you said it, Justin, is a hands catcher.
Yeah.
He's not going to take it into his chest. Even if he is double coverage and Jameis throws it up there, I would have all the faith in the world that Cedric's going to come down with it. And if he doesn't, I would have faith that it's not going to be an interception.
Yeah.
So I said the last 2 games so far, the 50-50 balls have been 100%. 4 out of 4 for Ced.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and then I was going to say, too, even with Cedric, you have Njoku, too, who's another big body. Those are 2 guys I think that this week I would imagine are going to make the biggest impact, although I'd like to see it spread around like how we did last week with Judy getting a nice amount of catches, Elijah Moore getting a amount of catches, which I hope he keeps performing because, last week we talked about it too where, he's had bad systems that he's played for. And, when he came to Cleveland, wasn't a great system yet, but hopefully with Jameis, with the turnaround, he can actually show his true potential because there's a reason why he got drafted as high as he did.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can live up to the potential and, we go from losing Amari Cooper to looking like, wow, we might actually have a pretty decent wide receiver.
I agree. So before we get you out of here, let you go eat your food. Prediction for tomorrow. Who wins and what's the score?
So I think Cleveland wins this game, and I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. I think it's going to probably be, if I had to take a guess, I'm going to say 24-21. It's going to come down to a field goal.
That was pretty close to what Peter said. What Peter say?
23-17.
23-17.
Yeah.
So pretty close, man. Well, hey, it was nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Put a face to the name. We appreciate you coming on here, talking some Browns football with us, and we'll see you here in a few minutes when we wrap this thing up.
Sounds good, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Thanks, buddy. Do we want to do anybody else,
does John want to come on? Just ask him if he wants to come on.
John, do you want to come on for a couple minutes? All right, we'll do John for a few minutes, and then we'll probably get out of the band's way because I think these guys are. We need to tear down our setup as well. So.
Okay. John Nye.
What's up?
Welcome back to the podcast, man. For anybody who's watched this show for any amount of time, you guys know John used to be on every single episode, and then he just disappeared. That's not out of the norm for him.
No,
that's what he does.
That's what I do.
We even had magical effects one time for him.
Yes, he's a wizard. So, John, thanks for being here. Thanks for making the trip.
You're welcome.
Nice V-neck. It is a cool shirt. Jim Donovan fan club.
Yes.
So
rest in peace, Jim Donovan, the greatest.
Yes.
That's right.
So John, what do you think about the Browns in terms of? We're gonna get more thoughts right now in the next 5 minutes than we got in 2 years of you being on the show. This is it's your time to shine.
Thanks.
All right. What do you think of the Browns game tomorrow in terms of what do you expect? Are we gonna win? Was last week a fluke? What do you think?
We're gonna win. We're at home. We got momentum. There's one thing I'm worried about that people aren't talking about. Denzel Ward is.
He's playing.
Oh, he's playing?
They just today they announced he was good to go.
Well, I didn't hear that, so never mind. I'm going to cancel my hot take about Denzel Ward.
Yes.
Earlier in the week, I didn't hear about it either, so chill.
John, for anybody who doesn't know, John doesn't hear a lot, at least out of one ear.
No, I don't hear very well. It runs in the family. So.
What do you think? What have you thought of Nick Chubb so far? And I know you're a huge Nick Chubb fan.
I am a huge Nick Chubb fan. I'm going to go way back in time to the 60s, all right?
Okay.
Out of a different sports league. In the NBA, I forget what year, the Knicks came back to win a championship when Willis Reed came back. Willis Reed scored 4 points. But he did something for that team that, the 4 points didn't mean anything. It was his presence that meant everything to the Knicks organization. I think that's kind of what Chubb's already brought, and I think we've seen that. So his stats haven't been crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's Nick Chubb. It's Batman. He's there. He might have the bad knee, and, Alfred's still nursing him to health. But
I like it.
I mean, Nick Chubb's back, and the fact that it's Nick Chubb, and he is Cleveland right now. He's the franchise. He's the city. He's outside of LeBron. We've never seen anything like that.
No, I agree. He and his work. I think even though his stats weren't crazy last week, there were a couple carries where it was like, okay, that looks like Nick Chubb. Maybe so. I look for him to continue to build on that. Do you think the defense? So Ward's playing, but JOK just got put on IR. I'm not sure if you heard. Mm-hmm. So are you worried at all about the defense now?
I would be more worried about somebody trying to replace Denzel than and it's not to take anything away from JOK, but Diabate looks decent. Denzel Ward is sneaky top 3 corner in the league, and nobody throws his way. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, if you throw towards Denzel, it's almost definitely incomplete.
Every week I go back and I look at the stats, like how many times the cornerbacks were targeted, and it's like 3 at most for him each week.
Yeah, people are scared of him, and they should be. I'm scared for him.
That's true.
I bonked my head on a door the other day, and I don't feel right. So I don't know what Denzel's going through, but I'm surprised he doesn't have family members pushing him to retire, honestly.
He might. Who knows?
Are you surprised he won't wear a Guardian cap?
I'm more surprised by that than anything this whole season, and I was going to bring that up. I mean, JOK's wearing one, and his injury wasn't a concussion, so maybe it's working. I can't believe Denzel's not wearing one.
Yeah.
If I can think of 2 people in the league that I would say should 100% be wearing them, it would be Tua and Denzel. And they're 2 people that refuse to do it.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on our reaction video. I don't understand why he won't wear one when, like you mentioned, he's a top 3 corner in the league. And we need him to be on the field. And the best way to ensure he can be on the field is to do anything possible to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And wearing that Guardian cap, I feel like it would do a ton of good. So I don't know why he won't wear it. But Fatal Gnome is very excited to see you in here. He said, John Nye. John, this is what we needed from you. How many beers have you had?
I don't drink. What are you talking about?
So maybe we just needed to get John. We needed to get John a couple of waters before we did shows, and we would have got this kind of insight out of him. All right. Well, we got to wrap up so we can get out of the band's way. But we appreciate you coming on here. I want your prediction for tomorrow. Somebody just spilled a drink.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Who wins and what's the score?
Browns win. I'm going to say 28-21, 28-24. And I also wanted to shout out Aaron Butler, no weapon formed against you shall prosper.
I don't.
That's a Ray Lewis quote from the Super Bowl, by the way. It's also a Bible thing, but.
All right. John, we appreciate you. Can just sit here while we wrap it up.
Yeah, we need to shout
school.
out the band, too, that's starting here at 8 o'clock, so about an hour if you guys are local. You want to come down and check out the band, Barcode.
Yeah, I think I saw him walk by with a set list, and I think
look pretty cool.
It said something about. I think I saw all the small things. I don't know what kind of music they play, but if it's all the small things, who doesn't like Blink-182?
Yep.
So again,
we'll be here.
Yep, we're going to be here for at least a couple more hours. If you're local to Cleveland, Akron, Berea, come on down to the Grindstone Tap House. Come hang out with us. It's the Browns Backers Bash, sponsored by the Berea Browns Backers. That's a lot to say.
A lot of B's, man.
Yeah, and I've gotten through it.
How many beers have you had?
None.
I don't buy it.
I just am not that smart.
Okay, yeah.
But we want to give a big shout out to the Berea Browns Backers and the Grindstone Tap House for letting us come out here, inviting us out to come to you guys live from this event. They got signed Browns paraphernalia. They were selling T-shirts, but they might be out. Good food, good drinks. There's going to be live music here, like Josh said, in about 53 minutes. So we appreciate them letting us come out here and doing this from this awesome event. Again, if you want to join a Browns Backers club, you just go to, I think he said it was brownsbackersworldwide.com. You hit the search option or find a chapter, I believe is what Tim said it was called, and then you can find a chapter near you. So if you're living somewhere not Cleveland local, if you're out of state and you need somewhere to watch the game, especially if you don't want to pay for NFL Sunday ticket, find a Browns Backers club close to you, and there will be a place that'll have the Browns on, and you can go watch it with other Browns fans. And they do a ton of good for their community. Like Tim was saying, the British Bulldog Browns Backers donated $10,000 to London last year from their the charity stuff that they do. Kenny Mack does a ton of charity stuff up in Ottawa. So Rich at T County, where Josh and I are from, and John, they do a ton of good stuff for the community. So it's not just watching Browns fans or Browns games. It's watching Browns games with like-minded people, other Browns fans, and doing good for where you live. So it's a good organization to be a part of, and the Browns are super cool in the way that they're affiliated with it and how much they do for it. So again, we want to thank them. We want to thank all of you guys who were in here watching with us live. I know it's a Saturday night, and I know there's a lot of good college football games on for you. So for you guys to be taking time out of your night, hanging out with us on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, wherever you're watching from, it doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate it. And as much as you guys watch the show is what allows us to get invited to functions like this. So again, we appreciate all of you. Go Browns. We can't wait for the game tomorrow, and we'll see you guys on Monday.